Today it's Sunday, so time for a guided meditation. But because the way that I meditate is a little bit different to the way that you've been taught before, I need to give you some explanation. So actually the way that I meditate is influenced highly by Chinese medicine theory, because I was trained a little bit in how to do energy healing before I became a monk, and it influenced the way that I developed my practice throughout the last 14, 15 years. So there are two concepts to put together in order to do this practice successfully. One is that you need to develop whole body awareness. We find this instruction inside the Ānapanasati Sutta, the sutta on mindfulness or breathing, where the Buddha says, Sabbakaya patisangvedi asasis sami tisikati, passasis sami tisikati. Sensitizing oneself to the whole body, one breathes in and one breathes out. Now, normally people have a vague sense of their body, and usually of only parts of their body. Basically, we become aware of the parts of our body that are significantly painful or significantly pleasant at any particular time. And everything else tends to slip out of our awareness, and our awareness tends to go outside to our sense bases. So the sights that we see are generally much more interesting to us when we're untrained than the experiences of tangible contact inside the body, the feelings of touch inside the body. So most people, for example, won't notice the feeling of their heart beating, or the feeling of their blood going through their hands, or the feeling of the wetness inside their lungs or the dryness inside their lungs, unless their heart is beating very, very fast, or their lungs have become very, very dry and they're coughing, or their hands have become very, very cold from lack of blood. So that's the first thing that we're trying to develop in this style of meditation, a sensitivity to the whole body all the time, whether you're experiencing pleasure, pain, or neutral feeling. The reason for that is because meditation is a skill. And in order to develop a skill, you need to know what raw materials you're working with. For example, if you are going to become a really good cook, you need to know the kitchen very well. And you can't just know a part of the kitchen. You can't just know how the fridge is working and then forget about the stove. Or you can't just know about the stove and forget about the sink. You can't just know about the knives and not about the spoons. You need to know about all of these things. Actually, we're not so much interested in training the body. We're actually interested in training the mind. But because the body and the mind are so closely linked, they influence each other all the time. The body affects the mind and the mind affects the body all the time. If you don't, in the first step, get to know your body, it will be very, very difficult to get full control over your mind. Now, the link, well, one way to look at the link between the body and the mind is to think about Chinese medicine theory about the different organs. There are particular organs that Chinese medicine emphasizes. In the earth element, there is the stomach and the spleen. In the wood element, there is the liver and the gallbladder. In the fire element, there's the heart and the heart protector, the pericardium. There's also the large intestine and the small intestine. And in the water element, there are the two kidneys. Now, in Chinese medicine theory, each of these organ systems are like a government department. So because China was run for so long upon the imperial bureaucracy with different government departments, and people had familiarity with dealing with those different departments, it made sense as a simile to ordinary Chinese people. So just as different government departments have different people and different personalities inside of them, so the department itself has a different personality and does different things. In the same way, if you feel into the organs, then what you'll start to notice is actually they have a different mental personality. So they don't just have different physical functions. So of course things like the kidneys are meant to purify the blood and then draw out toxins into your urine. And your gallbladder is meant to physically put gall into the digestive system in order to emulsify oils. And the liver is meant to act as a filter system to remove toxins from the blood. But actually, if you get very, very sensitive with your mind to the feeling inside of these organ systems, you'll notice what the ancient Chinese also noticed, that you can actually feel different types of thoughts inside your different organs. This is why in English, when we get anxious, we say, I feel like I've got butterflies in my stomach. We don't say, I feel like I've got butterflies in my neck. And we don't say, I feel like I've got butterflies inside my small intestine. We say, I feel like I've got butterflies in my stomach. Because anxiety, anxious thoughts, emerge around that part of the mental field, around the stomach, and then it immediately affects the stomach more than anything else. So in other words, the personality around the stomach tends to get anxious. Or when we feel a grudge against somebody, then we often say in English, that guy's got my gut. When we have grudges, often the anger gets held right inside the small intestine, and so everything gets tight. And then we find we get constipated as well. Now, significantly, the Chinese link the different organs and the different elements to the meridian system as well. So when you do acupuncture, an acupuncturist can put needles in different parts of your body, like your fingers, and then it's meant to affect your stomach or your spleen or your gallbladder or your liver, etc., etc. So it's like each organ is an octopus, and it throws out energy lines from itself, and it spreads through the entire body, all the way to the limbs, all the way to the fingers and the toes. And there are major systems to the acupuncture system, as well as minor systems to the acupuncture system. The more sensitive you become, the more you can see the different systems. But essentially, every organ affects the whole body. But it affects certain parts of the body more than others. Just like every government department actually affects the entire country, but will affect certain parts of the country more than others. So if you want to get Ayu Wan No Sukhang Balang from your practice, then the starting point is to give to good monks who have wisdom and good practice. But that's not all. You need to actually receive good instructions from good monks so that you can understand what to do with the rest of your life. To use the good karma that you've made in the right way so that you maximize your potential for Ayu Wan No Sukhang Balang, life, beauty, happiness and strength. So if you get sensitive to your whole body, then you will learn more and more and more about your different organ systems. So today what we're going to do is practice whole body awareness with a particular consciousness about getting to know the types of thoughts, perceptions, feelings and attitudes that we hold around particular organs. Now to do that, you need to have another concept in mind. So let me just revise what we've done. We've talked about whole body awareness, then we've also talked about how different organs have different personalities and it affects the body. In order to understand cause and effect between different parts of the body and the whole body, you need to learn how to become aware of particular parts of the body and the whole body at the same time. So what I mean by that is, for example, if I have a ball in my hand and I put all of my attention on the ball and then I throw it, I don't know where the ball has gone. In order for me to know where the ball has gone and to throw the ball accurately at the spot I want to hit, I have to be aware of my hand and the target at the same time. So I need to spread my awareness out to the target and have a focused attention on my hand, but not just on my hand, but on my whole body, because in order to throw, I need to train my entire body accurately. Yeah? So you put the main of your attention on your body, and then you put something called the peripheral attention on the target. And then you get a sense of a link between your body and the target, and then you throw. And as you practice, you get a more and more accurate sense of the different feelings inside your body as you're throwing, and whether or not you're getting closer to the target. And you keep making adjustments intelligently. So if you only knew your body, you'll never hit the target. If you only knew the target, you'll never hit the target. You need to know both your body and the target at the same time. Now, actually, we have this skill already of putting our attention in different places at the same time. For example, when you drive, you have to have your attention at least on your hands and the steering wheel and on the road at the same time. Yeah? And we know as drivers, the more you're able to spread your awareness out. So, for example, you can put a focused attention on the road in front of you, but also spread your attention out wider. Because there might be a dog on the side of the road that jumps out. And if your awareness is too focused, you won't know about the dog and it'll be too late to brake. Yeah? And then you could be in a car accident and kill the dog and kill yourself. When we have wholesome thoughts, wholesome attitudes, wholesome perceptions, then our mind relaxes and it becomes possible for us to keep our attention on one place and spread the mind out at the same time. And that's actually when our memory gets very, very good as well. And this is part of mindfulness practice. But when our mind is unwholesome, it's full of greed, hatred, delusion, and fear, in attitude, in thoughts, in perceptions, then the mind will tend to contract. And so a person who is defiled will be able to concentrate and perform particular tasks, but it will be messy. It won't be graceful. And he will burn himself out. The mind goes like that, and also he won't see the bigger picture. The mind will contract over a certain idea, and he won't be able to see the links around this particular idea that he's specializing in and the bigger picture. So we're doing it all the time. When we're getting skillful at anything, we already know how to put our attention in one place and see the bigger picture at the same time and make the connections in cause and effect intelligently. But normally we don't do it consciously. And because we don't do it consciously, we don't see all the factors that are affecting our ability to get better at this. So if you do it consciously, you can actually apply this general skill of seeing cause and effect between a particular area and the bigger picture to every field of your life. And you can, if you practice, get better at everything that you do. It doesn't matter whether you're young, middle-aged, or old. Yeah? It doesn't matter whether or not you're talented or not talented. In certain phases, if you're talented or if you've got more energy, you'll get better faster. But it can be guaranteed if you make an effort to learn this skill of putting your attention in one place and putting your peripheral attention outside so you see the bigger picture and you see cause and effect between these two things and you contemplate cause and effect intelligently, you can get better every day at any skill that you apply your mind to. So today we're talking about health. In Chinese medicine, we talk about qi. Yeah? So one way to think about qi flow is that different people with different personalities are using their qi in different ways and different patterns of behavior. The qi is moving in different ways. That's why you can see in people's body language, they move their body in a different way. The qi is moving a different way and it's reflecting their different personalities. Different emotions, the qi moves in different ways. Yeah? If you're angry, it looks like this. Yeah? When you're scared, it's like this. And it's not just the body that's moving, it's the mind that's moving. And there's chi in both the body and the mind. Now, what we're going to do is train in meditation as a form of exercise, as a training. Now, one of the things about training is that it's not good to practice mistakes, but it's also not good to try and be perfect. So if you just practice mistakes without improving your mistakes, correcting your mistakes, then you're not going to get any better. But if you're concerned about being perfect, well, you're never going to want to practice, actually, unless you force yourself or somebody else forces you. Because you will notice, if you're intelligent, that when you're training at something, you're not perfect. And you're always making mistakes. So what we have to do is have the desire to be perfect, actually to become fully enlightened, the ultimate form of perfection. But forgive ourselves and love ourselves even though we're not perfect right now. Yeah, you got to bring lots and lots of love to who you are right now and have the compassion for yourself to want to get better and to become perfect eventually. So don't hate yourself or be afraid because you're not perfect. Yeah, that will cause your mind to contract and you won't get any better. But also, don't love yourself as you are right now, that you have no desire to change. Because then your mind will get too relaxed. Then you won't be able to change either. You'll fall asleep. Yeah? Now, because of this problem between perfection and imperfection, when you're training, you want to not train for too long at anything. The better you get at something, the longer you can train. But you don't want to do things too long straight away. What you want to do is work out how long you can train at a particular skill before you're clearly just so tired and sore that you're just making lots and lots of mistakes. If you train beyond that point, you'll just practice mistakes. And then you'll associate your training with just feeling tired. And your mind won't want to keep on practicing. So different people will be able to train in any particular skill for a longer or shorter time, depending on their karma, depending on how they've trained in the past. And you've got to get to know yourself in this. Don't compare yourself to other people. Yeah? You've got to watch your own mind and your own body very, very carefully and ask yourself, okay, am I just making lots of mistakes now? You know? In that case, it's okay. It's time to stop, do something else, take a rest. Also, when you're training, you've got to be very, very clear about what you're trying to achieve, or else you won't know whether you're making mistakes or succeeding. Yeah? There's got to be benchmarks. You've got to have SMART goals. You've probably been taught this if you've ever worked in an office. M in SMART is a measurable goal. Yeah? You've got to know whether or not you've achieved it or not. So we're not talking in terms of meditation of, am I an arhat yet? Yeah. So there's stepping stones all the way to arhatship. There's stepping stones in every skill, including meditation. So today, what we're focusing on is, am I able to remain aware of a particular area and the area surrounding it at the same time? Yeah. And what you need to check is, is my mind too focused on the area so I lose on the particular area, so I lose awareness of what's around it? Or has my mind just relaxed so much that it's so much around the whole body that it doesn't really know what's happening in any particular area, say the stomach? Yeah? That's all that we're trying to do today. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's do some meditation for 10 minutes. Close your eyes. Straighten your posture, but not too straight. Relax your posture, but not too relaxed. And now let's just go through the body section by section. First, just place your awareness on your head, but with no attempt to only know your head. Place the main of your attention on your head, and then the rest of your attention will just naturally spread out to other places. Where it goes, in those other places, don't worry, so long as you've got a focused attention on what's going on inside your head. And be curious, have a bit of fun. Like you're exploring a new house. Is it hot in there? Is it cold in there? Is it heavy in there? Is it light in there? Is it moist in there? Is it dry in there? Is it windy in there? Is it still in there? So just get to know the 4 elements in this way inside your head, like a curious scientist. You've got interest, but it's dispassionate, it's cool. It's like, whatever information I get, okay, that's good. Because I need to collect information in order to do things later on with that information. But right now, we're not doing anything with the information. We're collecting information with curiosity and love, interest. Now, next step is to now open up the peripheral awareness and put it on your whole body. Just like a driver who's able to put the main of his attention on the road in front of him and then spread the periphery of his attention over the entire road and as well as the space around the entire car. But without losing a sense of your main awareness on your head. Be careful of the habit of the mind to jump towards and hold towards anything that feels particularly painful or pleasurable. Maintain discipline in keeping the main of your attention on your head and the periphery of your attention on your entire body. Now you're collecting information from both your head and your entire body at the same time now. But mostly you're getting information from your head and you're getting less detailed information from the rest of your body. So we've got 2 minutes left. Just focus on that skill and see how well you can do it for 2 minutes. Stay focused on this task, remembering what you're trying to achieve, but stay nice and relaxed about whether or not you can actually achieve it. Okay, so now just take 30 seconds to review what you remember that you were meant to do and whether or not you'll be able to do it and to what extent you're able to do it. And also ask yourself why you were able to do it or why you weren't able to do it. Now take 3 conscious breaths in and out. Slowly open your eyes and let's finish this meditation for the day. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.